each year, the subcompact SUV segment is becoming more and more competitive and it is getting tougher. And on one hand, we have seen newer models enter this space like the recently launched Skoda Kylaq, while on the other, existing models are being updated every year to catch up to the current trend. Now, the Tata Nexon received a proper midlife facelift around the end of 2023, whereas the Kia Sonet and the newly launched Mahindra XUV 3XO, earlier known as the XUV 300, received similar makeovers earlier this year. And considering all three SUVs have been highly popular among you folks, we thought we'll bring them together for a proper subcompact SUV shootout. Before I go ahead in this video, if you are new to the channel, do subscribe to Car and Bike, and while you're at it, hit that bell notification as well so you never miss an update from us.
All three cars you'll see in this video come with a turbocharged petrol engine with a proper automatic transmission, and all of them are the top of the line variants of each model. So yes, this is truly a fair game.
Now, when it comes to looks, all three cars are well equipped, and all three cars get full LED headlights along with LED DRLs and connected LED tail lamps. However, it is the Kia's signature pattern that particularly stands out for me. Now, all three SUVs also get very sporty looking dual tone alloy wheels, and while the Nexon and the Kia feature 16-inch wheels, it is the Mahindra XUV 3XO that gets a size larger 17-inch dual tone alloys, and it is this design pattern that I particularly prefer. Now, having said that, it is the Nexon that offers 16-inch wheels across the variant lineup, whereas both the Kia Sonet as well as the 3XO offer smaller 15 or 16-inch wheels with the lower variants. All three SUVs also offer you dual tone color options.
Now, all three are sub 4 meter in size. However, the 3XO is 5mm shorter in length compared to the other two, which stand at 3990mm. But what surprises me here is, despite that, Mahindra has managed to offer the longest wheelbase in the class at 2600mm. Plus, it's also wider and taller than the other two SUVs. However, when it comes to ground clearance, the Nexon takes the lead at 208mm compared to 205mm for the Sonet and 200mm for the 3XO.
However, when it comes to boot space, it is the Sonet that will surprise you with the largest capacity among all three SUVs. It comes with a capacity of 385 liters, whereas the Nexon is slightly lesser at 382 liters. But the XUV 3XO, because of that longer wheelbase, you have to compromise a bit on the luggage space because this gets the least amount of luggage capacity of 364 liters. Also, to get that capacity, it is much lower into the luggage area, so putting in stuff will also be a bit more difficult in the 3XO compared to the other two SUVs.
As for the cabin, all three SUVs are loaded with creature comforts and are quite tech heavy in general. All three SUVs offer a pair of 10.25-inch screens, which include a touchscreen infotainment system and a digital cluster. Other features include a wireless phone charger, multiple USB ports, leatherette upholstery, and Android Auto and Apple CarPlay.
However, the top spec variant of the Sonet continues to offer wired connectivity for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which in 2024 feels outdated. Also, while Mahindra says that the 3XO offers wireless connectivity for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, none of those two apps worked in the test car that we have with us. However, in this Nexon, the connectivity was seamless. Furthermore, while the Sonet continues to offer a single pane electric sunroof, the Mahindra XUV 3XO gets a panoramic sunroof, and seeing that, Tata too has updated the Nexon with a panoramic sunroof now. So both these SUVs will offer you that feature. Additionally, the 3XO also offers electronic parking brake along with auto hold function, and it is the only ICE car in this segment to offer this feature, and that is a big USP. As for the ergonomics, the Nexon offers good positioning, the cushion is good, however, the backrest is not adequate enough, it doesn't cover your shoulders, so long drives will be challenging. Also, both these seats feel a bit constrained due to the design, and the central console also doesn't offer you much storage area, especially in this top of the line model, which replaces the cup holders for a wireless phone charger. Also, the door pockets are narrow and barely fits a 1-liter water bottle. But you do get ventilation function for both the driver and co-driver.
Having said that, the Nexon's electronics have not always been very reliable. While a lot of customers have complained about it, we too have experienced it on a couple of occasions.
Rear seat space on the Nexon is slightly better. You get more room here for your legs and knee, and seating is also good. However, having 3 people sitting here abreast will be a tight squeeze. The Sonet, on the other hand, is the only car among these 3 to offer an electrically adjustable driver's seat. And Tata, look at this, despite offering a wireless phone charger, you get ample storage area here on the center console, including this device pocket and cup holders. And the Sonet also offers ventilated seats for both the driver and co-driver. At the back, the space is adequate at best, and while you do get aircon vents and there is the smart air purifier display also here, but more importantly, you get sunshades, which is not offered in any of the cars in this space. Now, the wider body and the longer wheelbase ensures that you get more cabin space inside the 3XO, and compared to the Nexon and Sonet's darker tone of interior, here you get this light white interiors which add an extra sense of roominess. However, do not be fooled by these perforated seats because you do not get ventilation function for the front 2 passengers, which is a big miss considering most of the cars, including the 2 rivals we see here in this video, offer this feature and people do love them. However, you do get dual zone AC controls here, which is a feature that no other car in this space offers. Now, the rear seat too offers more space here, which is why accommodating 3 passengers abreast would be relatively easier. You also get adjustable headrests for all 3 passengers, and while there are AC vents, you do not get blower controls.
In terms of safety, all 3 cars have covered all bases. You get 6 airbags, ABS with EBD, electronic stability control, hill assist control, rear parking sensors, 3-pointed seat belts with reminder, and ISOFIX as standard. The Sonet additionally also gets emergency stop signal, vehicle stability management, and tire pressure alert among standard offerings, while they are optional on the Nexon and 3XO. All 3 cars also offer 360-degree view cameras with blind spot monitor. However, the integration on the Sonet and even the 3XO is a bit more user-friendly. The Sonet and 3XO also come with advanced driver assistance systems or ADAS, which goes missing on the Nexon.
Now, the Kia Sonet is powered by a 1-liter turbocharged petrol engine, which is a 3-pot unit, and it comes mated to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. Now, output-wise, it offers you about 119 brake horsepower, whereas the torque figures stand at 172 Newton meter. Now, the engine feels smooth and refined, and yes, there is a turbo lag in the lower revs, but it builds up speed nicely as you go up the rev band. Now, the turbo kicks in at about 2500 RPM, and that is when the engine comes alive and starts feeling more responsive and fun to drive. Among these 3, I feel the Sonet is a nicer car as a day-to-day driver. Yes, the ride quality is a bit on the stiffer side. You have to get used to it, and that will happen over a period of time. However, the steering is quite light, it is easily maneuverable and comes in very handy, especially when you're in city traffic conditions and doing bumper to bumper driving, and that is when it feels a lot more easier to handle compared to the other 2 cars. In terms of ergonomics too, the Sonet feels right. You can get the right position, you get electrically adjustable seats on this top of the line variant, and the steering too has a nice solid feel, and overall it is a nice package. The handling too on the Sonet is decent. It offers good straight line stability, and around the corners too it doesn't waver off that much, but yes, you do feel some body roll, and but that is nothing too jarring. In fact, the NVH levels are quite good, the cabin is relatively silent, and not much harshness seeps into the cabin either. Now the Tata Nexon offers a 1.2-liter turbocharged petrol engine, and as for the output, it offers you about 118 brake horsepower, whereas the torque output stands at 170 Newton meter. And these are decent numbers. Yes, it is slightly lesser than the Sonet. However, when you're driving the car, the difference is next to negligible. However, what stands out is the drivability. Yes, the Nexon offers great ride and handling. Drivability wise, it is very nice, and you'll be much more happier behind the wheel on this car compared to the other two. The Nexon feels stable at all times, be it doing straight line or when you're taking a corner. The car feels like it is ready for anything, and it goes with the flow. It takes on all the bumps and undulation on the road with great ease, and you'll barely feel any harshness seep into the cabin. As for the transmission, the Nexon comes with a 7-speed dual clutch automatic, which is similar to what you get in the Kia Sonet. However, this one doesn't feel as smooth and refined as the one on the Sonet. Also, this particular shifter lever is not something I like. There have been some misses when I'm trying to go from drive to reverse or the other way around, and it could be a challenge when you're trying to move the car around in a tight parking spot. I think a proper conventional shifter lever that you see in the Sonet or the 3XO would have been a better option to go for. Now coming to the XUV 3XO, amongst these three cars, this kind of has a feeling of a wolf in sheep's clothing, because this too gets a 1.2-liter turbocharged petrol engine. However, there is a massive bump in power and torque. Yes, this makes about 129 brake horsepower, which is around 10 bhp more than the Sonet, and the torque figure too stands at 230 Newton meters, which is way above both the other two cars that we have tested today. So outright, in terms of brute power and torque, it is the 3XO that takes the lead without any doubt. Now all that torque does come into play, and that has improved the low-end performance of the SUV. In fact, compared to the Nexon and Sonet, it has a nicer lower end, and it feels much more alive compared to the other two cars in the lower RPMs. Now, despite having all that power and torque, what this engine lacks is character, which we find especially in the Nexon, and that is not here. And that would be one gripe that I would have with this engine. However, it is smooth, it builds up power and speed nicely, and that is a good thing. One big difference compared to the other two cars is the transmission. Yes, here you get a 6-speed torque converter automatic compared to the DCTs we saw in the other two cars, and this too is nice. In fact, it does its job well, and this one too is quite nicely calibrated, and the shifts are smooth, and it overall does a fine job. And in fact, I would go as far as to say that this torque converter unit is better than the DCT in the Nexon. The one area where the 3XO is not so better compared to the Nexon is in terms of dynamics. Yes, the steering is way too light for my liking. In fact, it is okay if you are in lower speeds or you're driving the car around in a parking lot. However, when you are on the road and trying to achieve higher speeds, that is when the steering should have weighed up nicely, but it doesn't, and that becomes a bit unsettling, and it doesn't impart enough confidence to continue with same kind of speeds. The ride quality too feels a bit bumpy at times, and while it's okay when the roads are rough, but even on good tarmacs that I'm currently driving on, there it feels bumpy, and that is something that takes away from the fun of driving that this engine has to offer.
The Kia Sonet we were driving was the GT line, and it was priced at 14,82,000 rupees ex-showroom India. However, the range starts from 8 lakh rupees and goes up to 15,80,000 rupees. As for the Tata Nexon, the model with me was priced at 14,50,000 rupees. However, here too the range starts at 8 lakh rupees and goes up to 15,50,000 rupees ex-showroom. At the same time, the Mahindra XUV 3XO with me was priced at 15,49,000 rupees. Also, the base trim is slightly cheaper compared to the other two at 7,80,000 rupees, and it goes up to 15,49,000 rupees. All prices are ex-showroom.
Looking at all three SUVs, it is clear that all of them are feature-packed and they are priced very close to each other. So how do you make that choice? Well, it's simple. If you are looking for a stylish, modern SUV that offers you great feature comforts and tech, and it offers you a reliable and relatively fuel efficient engine as well, then the Sonet is the way to go. On the other hand, if you are looking for great drivability with good handling and ride quality, and you also want similar if not better features and tech, then the Nexon is the right choice. On the other hand, if you want cabin space and you are looking for exclusive features like dual zone AC controls along with electronic parking brake and auto hold function, and you want outright power and torque, then the Mahindra XUV 3XO is the one. However, at this point, I feel that making that choice will be slightly difficult because all three SUVs offer great pros and the cons are very few. For me, I love the space inside the 3XO. I also like that it gets dual zone climate control along with auto hold, and those are among my favorite features. But despite having the most powerful engine, the engine lacks character, and that doesn't make me go wow. On the other hand, I love how the Nexon drives. It is great in terms of handling and ride quality, and among these three SUVs, I feel that is the more driver's car, and I would love to drive that SUV daily. However, the issues with its electronics is a sore thumb, and it is something that I feel I will regret later on in the process. But the Sonet feels like a safer bet, and if I had to choose among these three SUVs, I would go for the Kia Sonet. But you do let us know in the comments, what do you feel, which is the SUV that you think is right for you. And if you want more such videos, keep following Car and Bike, and if you like this one, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow enthusiasts.